Hello, I'm Kristanna Loken, and you're watching John Ali TV.
As I said to you, I'm so glad to have you on. And but first of all, just tell us, how are you, Kristanna?
Doing great, thank you. We had a lot of fun on the movie, so I'm looking forward to your questions and to talking with James about it.
Of course, we'll do. But Kristanna, you know, I'm from France, and the first time I saw you was, of course, you know, in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. And as long as I remember, you know, before you, we never had like a main character, you know, female villain in a blockbuster, you know. Maybe if I think we had like Spaces in the 90s, but not in an iconic saga as Terminator, you know. That was the first time. Plus, you were the first woman to ever kick, you know, Schwarzenegger's ass.
That's right. Some woman had to do it. I'm glad it was me.
So yeah, you're right. And you know what? I remember I was invited at the Cannes Festival this year.
Oh, great.
And I missed you because I was supposed to meet you. You in the, yeah. I was, you know, there was a big stage with the, you know, the Terminator, you know, with the robots, and I was there, but I missed you guys. And I was like down. I had 20 at the time, and I am 40. And I was like, no, how can I miss them? And I was
no,
yeah, it was so sad.
Yes. Now we have a 20-year reunion, you and I.
Yeah, see, we're here, finally.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's
Kristanna, just before we start, do you have, you know, maybe a souvenir to share, you know, from this time, you know, what was your best moment, you know, like being a part of such a big saga? You know, I guess it was crazy, you know, back then.
Yeah, I mean, we had the worldwide premiere actually at Cannes that year. Yeah. And we had many premieres all over the world, but Cannes was the first. So it was huge. And I remember when I got off the Sony jet and I walked on that main, what is the main road there right by the ocean? What is it called?
I forgot, but yeah, the French Riviera, we can say that.
Okay, yes. And I saw my face everywhere, and there was all kinds of branding on lighters, and I was being really announced on the worldwide stage, and it was just really an opportunity of a lifetime. And I just remember telling Jonathan Mostow, the director, I'm not going to let you down. And I worked my tail off, and hopefully it paid off.
That was awesome. Yeah. I love this movie so much, you know. And then Blood Rain and a lot of, you know, movies and shows. And after all these years, you're still there, you know, wonderful. You truly are. And ready for the next movie, you know.
That's right.
Darkness of a Man.
That's right.
With the legend Jean-Claude Van Damme. But before, I would like to introduce, you know, the man behind this, you know, the director, the great James Cullen Bressack. Hey, James, how are you, buddy?
Hi. Oh, wow. I was stretching when I got
ready to take your katana over there.
You know? But yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to be here, buddy. Yeah, it's been, you know, I've been following you, you know, on the gram for, you know, for some times now. And I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to reach that guy because I love your work, and I'm glad to have you. So thank you, James. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. I know I'm excited. Anytime I get to spend time talking about my movies and Kristanna is great for me. So, you know, we love Kristanna's here. So I am a little offended I'm not being asked all of my Terminator questions because I have opinions about Terminator, but that's
I want to know.
I'm joking.
So, James, you're an amazing director. You know, Hot Seat, Fortress, Survive the Game, Beyond the Law. You have worked with legends like Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis, Steven Seagal, the late great DMX. I love that guy so much.
Yeah,
man. You know, and now Jean-Claude Van Damme and Kristanna Loken here with us. Like me, you grew up in the 90s, I guess, right?
Yeah. I was born in 92. And
just like me, man.
Oh, wow.
No, 1982.
Yeah. I was born in 92. I was like, wait, I'm 31. How are you?
You a baby.
You were born in 92. Like the French just age faster, I guess.
Yeah. So James, as I said, how it was for you, to work with such legendary, experimented actors? I guess it helps on set, right?
The strangest thing about working with like these actors is like, I didn't go to film school. Like I grew up watching movies, you know what I mean? So like I learned everything from watching movies and then making movies and trial and error. Like I think people who have followed my career, I made my first feature at 18 years old. So you would see like I pretty much learned by making every mistake you possibly could and then learning from that and growing each movie and going, I'm never going to do that again. And so like that's kind of been like what I've done with my movies. And so like I've grown as that's gone, and I've gotten to work with such amazing actors as time has gone by. And the one thing that's like really been surreal is like I have wanted to work with all the people like I grew up going like, this person's a badass. And the movies that I saw, and I was like, I want to work with these people because like these are the people I liked watching, and so like that's my casting process is I watch movies and I go, okay, I want to work with that person. It doesn't really click for me that I'm working with the person until I'm behind the monitor and I'm seeing them on camera. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Kristanna Loken on screen. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh.
And I'm not at home. I'm on the set.
I'm making, and that's when like little kid me gets excited because I'm watching like the monitor and I'm making a movie I would have watched. And like, that's kind of like what I find really cool. But it's really weird because like, like I have to not get starstruck during the work process, but when I'm in like by myself by the monitor or like in the edit bay, I start going like, holy shit, that's Van Damme.
That's dream come true, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's somehow I fool myself into like only recognizing them as like the star when I see them on camera.
It's like rental blockbuster from your room to your set,
Oh,
and you're
directing
this. Yeah, I love it.
Well, I mean, it's been fun too because like in my career of doing action movies now, I did a movie, action movie with Steven Seagal. I did two with Bruce Willis. I did one with Mel Gibson. I've done one with Van Damme, and then I'm going to announce another one pretty soon with another big action star. And the way I look at it is like, I'm like, yo, this is my like, movie marathon, like blockbuster movie night that like I would have totally wanted to have.
That is awesome, man. Can you tell us more about, Darkness of Man? It's like a new neo-genre action movie, and you wrote the story, right?
Yeah. So it is. I wrote it alongside Alethea Cho, and it's basically and Van Damme actually as well. Basically, what the story is it's a neo noir about a broken alcoholic ex operative who is really just trying to find his place in life, and he's taking care of this kid that was the son of his his informant that he fell in love with, and she died, and so the kid becomes like basically he becomes the kid's bodyguard. But it's really about the choice that he makes along the way of what it means to be a father. And is family what we choose, or is family a choice that we make, and what is being a parent and being present? And I think that is the general story, surrounded by an all-out turf war of the Russians and the Koreans and Van Damme just kind of going at it and killing people. And when we say people get killed, like, I mean, I'm not talking like the level of like a John Wick 3 or 4, but definitely like, the level of like a John Wick 1 amount of people getting killed.
That's a good amount, right? It's like about, it's 70%.
It's a very, very violent movie. And we are talking about possibly diving back into the world again. So that would be cool.
That would be cool, yeah. Kristanna, you play Claire, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Oh, can you tell us more about your character without any spoiler? I don't want to,
Sure. Well, Claire is a in-home vet, so she takes care of animals in people's homes when they don't want to be taking their pet to the clinic all the time. And this job actually became popularized during COVID when, people weren't going out. So this is how she meets Russell Hatch, Van Damme's character. She's taking care of his cat. So there's this kind of unlikely meeting of the two. and she sees this lone wolf that really needs some help. And her being of the nurturing sort, she kind of takes him under her wing a bit and helps him through some rough times. And through that, there's a bit of a love connection that happens.
Yeah, and Kristanna plays the role very beautifully. You know, she has some really emotional scenes, and she's very great in it. And one thing I think she really brought to it, which is interesting, is like, you know, the depth of a person who wants to. And Kristanna actually did a little bit of writing herself. She wrote a little monologue her character has, and
that's awesome.
There's a beat where, you know, her character takes care of, you know, wounded animals, and she's drawing parallels between, you know, what she sees inside this wounded and damaged person, and what kind of person is drawn to wanting to help others when they see that they're in, you know, this state. And I think it's a really beautiful moment that's captured in the film.
Yeah, thanks, James. And, you know, with Van Damme's character supporting this this kind of father-son, this unlikely father-son relationship that he's been bestowed with, my character has a lot of compassion for that dynamic and is really drawn to that as well, not having any kids of her own. And it becomes a bit of an unlikely family of sorts through all of their own dysfunction, so to speak. So there's a very heartwarming element amidst all of the other violence and destruction that's happening.
Yeah, Kristanna is like the heart of the movie, and around it is the chaos of just the insane violence that exists. Yeah, you know, we're talking very intensely about the emotions of it because it is an emotional movie, and you know, I think it's not the typical Van Damme movie, but I would also say it has more action than most Van Damme movies at the same time, which is an interesting parallel. You know, I mean, we have more action, and yet it's definitely, you know, it's not comedic. Van Damme's playing a very dark, depressed, sad character. He's not cracking jokes. I think he smiles once in the entire movie.
Love it.
Me.
I love the fact, like, you know, you describe, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme's character as a lone beast, you know, and the fact that, you know, Kristanna is a vet and take care of animals, she can understand him, you know, and I feel that, you know.
That's right. Yeah, there's a lot of compassion that's felt for his plight. And it's conveyed through her wanting to support and help him as she does with animals who need that care.
Love it. And Kristanna, what was the best moment filming on set, you know?
Well, we had a lot of good ones. I'll say there was one funny moment. I think James is going to know where this is going.
I think I know what you're going to say, but I didn't know if you were going to share it. But if you are, I'm going to laugh hysterically.
Okay. Where we're Van Damme, myself, and the young actor, very talented, who plays the boy that he's taking care of, Emerson. And it's an ice cream scene where the boy is eating ice cream, and Emerson must have eaten what? It was like 2 gallons, I think, at least, of ice cream.
For sure.
Like, he was really going for it through these. They're like running out of ice cream because no one would have thought that he would have eaten 2 gallons. And I mean, he's a smallish boy, and at the end, and then we're all kind of getting involved, but by the end it's melting, and they're trying to put other kinds of ice cream underneath to build it up, so you can't really see that it's a different kind, so it doesn't really match. And we had a lot of fun with that scene, and that's the definitely one of the lightest moments probably in the entire film.
For sure. And the thing that I find really funny about it too is, like, you know, Emerson, he's a super talented kid, you know, great actor, but you know, he was like in his mind, like, oh, well, my character would be like wolfing down this ice cream. But like, you know, when you're doing multiple angles, like, you know, multiple takes, you're eating like 2 gallons of ice cream. And I think that was kind of pretty hilarious. And you know, I think we were all worried weirdly about the ice cream continuity because it did get super melty. But when you watch the scene, you can't tell at all. But it is pretty hilarious at the time because it's you know, it's who would think that your biggest concern on set one day would be ice cream continuity.
Love it. And for you, James, what was the best moment filming? You know, because there's always some challenging moment for a director.
I mean, listen, every single movie I do, it has its own challenges, and I gotta play pretend for a living. You know what I mean? I gotta come up with ideas and see them literally. I gotta write them on a page and see them appear on a screen, where I'm like saying, no, move this and that. So, and collaborate and create something, that people can watch just from my mind. So I would say every moment, I know that's kind of a cop out because I'm sure you want a specific, thing, but like I care about every moment. So it's every moment of making a movie. I've always said, my worst day on a film set is better than any day I have in my regular life. So I'd pick that. If I could, I would spend every day making a movie.
I just want to say one thing, John, is that I give James some credit here. You really did an awesome job at learning people's language. I mean, you really did, because everybody does have a different way of approaching, and your ability to communicate and collaborate with everyone was really exceptional. And I just know James is going to do and continue to do some really awesome things. So
Well, I very much appreciate
it. Yours, James.
I'm a big fan of yours. When's our next movie? Tomorrow.
Exactly. It's like you want to keep the collaborative juices flowing and going. It's like the rush of the next one. Okay, what are we prepping for next?
Exactly. It's why I work with so many of the same. It's also another reason why I work with so many of the same people over and over again, is because like when you learn somebody's language and it works and you collaborate well, like why do you want to do that again with somebody else? It's like you have that language, and if they fit for the thing, you're like, let's just work together.
Yeah, and the shorthand on how to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this. You both have a philosophical way to see your work. Like when you said the somebody language thing. I love it. Like it's the way to understand each other. While working on something you want to do, and I love it. Yeah, I can feel the passion.
I was very impressed with how thorough Kristanna is when she goes through the scripts. When she was reading each draft, and she was really thorough and really gave a lot of thought to both her character and the questions she would ask about, like, what my intention was for certain things, and really diving into the character and the story together. And that collaboration was really interesting because she definitely took a very, very curious approach. Like she wanted to know each thing. And I find that very interesting. Like she really, really dove in depth into it. And we spoke a lot about emotion, but it was a really interesting, cool process of collaborating. And, I think she's a very, very deep person. And seeing that and how her mind works with the emotions of the character was a really wonderful experience.
Thanks, James. That's like the best compliment. I so appreciate that. It was wonderful to collaborate with you and develop the character and also the script and on those levels. So it was and I love that you are extremely receptive too. No, we worked great together.
James, you're right. Kristanna seems always focused, like she's a real TX, I love it.
That's me. I do. I mean, I really do take what I do. Gosh, it's almost emotional for me, but like, I love it. I'm so passionate about the craft of acting and storytelling and filmmaking. It's, I mean, I guess I've devoted most of my life to it and will continue to. So it's we're so lucky when we can have our job be our passion.
Because you've been acting since you were 16, right?
Yeah.
13.
13. Yeah. Oh, 13. Wow. I knew it was early. Yeah. You've literally dedicated your life to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you were model also.
I started acting first, but I also did do some modeling as well. But modeling for me was never really my thing. I mean, I did well doing it, but I've never really been into fashion, and just kind of giving to an inanimate object wasn't that gratifying for me. And you know, the people could be tough. I mean, people think it's tough as an actress. I mean, be a model. It's extremely critical and tough. Yeah. But my mom was a very successful model, and it was a great fit for her for like 20 years. And you know, I got to travel with it, and I don't begrudge the experience for a second. I mean, certainly having a certain awareness and physical movement in front of a camera was very helpful and beneficial, and also having a dance background. So it all plays into it.
And how about action? You know, because in this movie there's a lot of action too. And your character Claire, Kristanna, is she involved in some way in action? Because we know you are such a badass when you stop. Like,
I would say
I don't want to give any spoiler alert. We'll just say that maybe in a sequel.
Yeah, in part 2 there will be
action.
quite a bit of,
I don't know. James and I will discuss this further, but
you have to. You have to kick some ass at some point. I don't want to know.
There's going to be quite a bit of action that would involve Kristanna, but that would be you know, that would be a part 2 scenario.
Yeah.
I won't say what happens in part 1, but I will say, so I guess there is some type of spoiler that if part 2 happens, she would be in it. So I guess that is a spoiler in its own right, because that means she's either lives or gets revived.
I will release the podcast, you know, once the movie is available. No worries. James, you know, so about action, you know, having, you know, someone like Jean-Claude, you know, on set, like he's an expert in, he's a martial artist, you know, how it was, you know, do you have like, you know, because we know Jean-Claude, how he can be on set, and he's very, you know, proposing something always, and maybe he have some, you know, indication or something to say, hey, I should do this, I should do that, or how it was to work with him?
You know, here's the thing. I've shot a lot of action movies, and you know, I've done a lot of action, but like, you know, like I'm not gonna go up to you know, Tyson Fury and tell him how to box.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna
Tyson Fury, man, I love it.
I'm not gonna go up to Conor McGregor and tell him how to fight. You know what I mean? So Jean-Claude has, and this is part of the collaboration I talk about. You know, Jean-Claude has an insane sense of how to, you know, do action sequences and how to fight, and you know, he definitely let me do my thing, but when he would have suggestions, of course I'm going to listen to him. I mean, you know, the beautiful thing is like, you know, within editing a movie, you know, you have options. So, you know, I always think it's good, you know, if somebody has a good idea, let's try it. Why not try it? And, you know, he brought some amazing things to the table. And also he understands how his body moves better than I do. And so like when he's saying, well, if I do this and then this, that's because he knows he could sell that better on camera and it's going to look cooler. You know, oh, that just turned my cat is messing with my thing.
And so guys, what is next for you? Kristanna first.
Yeah.
A sequel. Spoiler alert.
Well, yes, that will be upcoming. James and I will definitely be collaborating on other things in the future, for sure.
For sure.
Since shooting Darkness of Man, I just wrapped on Friday another film called No Address. And No Address is a very different style film than Darkness of Man. It's a drama, and it's written and directed by Julia Verdon. So No Address underscores the plight of homelessness in America, which is huge right now. It's a really big problem, especially coming through COVID. Los Angeles alone has the largest homeless population in the country. It's got 42,000 homeless people and 600,000 homeless nationwide. So with a country of our wealth, I mean, it's just abhorrent that we're dealing with this. And my character, Billy Baldwin, plays my husband. And Beverly D'Angelo is also in the film. The Grammy-winning singer Ashanti is in the film. Oh, wow. Xander Berkeley of The Walking Dead and Terminator is in the film. I play a nurse, an ER nurse, another movie with Scrubs, James.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. This is taking care of people, not cats.
I care. I have a big heart, I think is what it says. It's funny because I've never worn scrubs in movies before in my entire career until these last two.
And next week she's on Grey's Anatomy.
There you go. Exactly.
Fantastic.
That is an important movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we're excited about that. And then I have another project that my company Trio Entertainment produced. It's called Vice and Virtue. And we are just finishing up post-production now. We have a Grammy-winning composer doing the score, which we're very excited about. And Vice and Virtue is two celestial beings that take human form. They come down to planet Earth, and they invoke this judgment day, if you will, on about half a dozen people that find themselves in an undisclosed location. So this film really studies choice points and our decision-making process around why we choose what we choose. So how did these people end up here in their life? And it's kind of like, are they going to choose the way out of the angel or the way out of the devil? And how will they be reformed or not?
But notice the deep themes of everything that she's like diving into. You know, she's like I said, she thinks about this stuff very deep.
I love it.
Thanks, James.
Can't wait for that. Congratulations, Kristanna.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
And for you, James, what is next?
What is next right now? Well, so this will come out when the movie's already out. So I guess my statement doesn't really make sense, but it's finishing the movie. But after that, I have a couple movies that I guess by the time this is out would be announced. But I can't say anything now at the time of recording. You
can't. So you are still in post prod for Darkness of Man right now?
Yeah. We got to do the sound and the color and visual effects but Kristanna's already seen it.
The rough cut,
the director's cut.
Director's cut.
Some changes since then, but she's seen. You know, I wanted her to see it so she could help give me some notes. Cool. And then because I very, very, very much value her opinion, and maybe by the time this comes out, part 2 will have been announced. So we'll see.
I hope so. Guys, what can I add more? Thank you so much for your time. It was so nice to have you both, and I can't wait for Darkness of Man. You know, I was hyped. That's why I contact James and say, hey James, yeah, come on. I had some great actors on the show, and both I love it. You know, this is my second time to have one of the main character from the movies and the director. So I'm so glad to have you both guys, and we'll do it again, I hope.
Thanks, John, and I'm so glad we finally got to meet since I did
20 years
premiere of T3.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you guys got to finally meet after 20 years. And hopefully we're back
because of you, James. Thank you.
Hopefully we're back to talk during part 2.
We'll do. Promise we'll do, guys.
Maybe in France.
I'm a fan, just like James. So thank you for your time. It was an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Let us
James,
know.
We stay in touch, man.
When it comes out, and we'll spread the word of your show.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.